And we do have a hand up, but I don't know if Dr. Tim got to him or not. So.
Well, let's say hello. Welcome, everybody, first of all. I'm delighted that you're here. And let's say who's got their hand up. Let's have a conversation.
Area code 262, I think it's Vincent. Welcome.
Oh, Vincent. Hey there, young man.
Hi. I'm Michael.
Hey, we're glad you made it. We're finally going to get to connect.
Yeah.
How are you doing? What's happening in your world?
Doing great. Yeah, I have the day off, so I've just been working, talking.
Well, it's pretty cool. A couple of the experiences you've shared with me since you started doing the codependence intensive. That's been pretty sweet. So, anything to share at this moment?
I feel like I've released a lot of like negative resonances in me, and I feel like happier than I felt in a while. So that's awesome.
It is.
And like I shared that other experience, like I was able to cancel that goal in real time. And I feel like since that moment, I've just been able to consciously like breathe in love, like breathe in the active, conscious, present love. I've been like focusing on that a lot more, like breathing it into my body, breathing it in like the world when I'm looking at it, and trying to like almost heal the world, like almost like in a metaphysical sense, which is kind of different.
That's awesome work.
I feel like it's working. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, and you know, I can only assume you've been on the path for a while with the way you just started with this work, but it sounds like you're really moving the direction of functioning out of your higher faculties rather than out of the mind, and that's like takes most people years to accomplish.
Yeah, out of the projections of life. Like I noticed I was projecting a lot of my stuff onto others in like 2019-ish, 2018. And it's hard. It's a very hard thing to get out of, because it's like you want to blame others for how you're feeling, but then you're just, it always comes back to you. So just like taking responsibility, and your process makes it a lot easier, because now you actually have a process that you can go through, a step-by-step, you know, guidance system.
Yeah, right on.
A lot of other,
you know, to me, it's just monumental that 2,000 years ago, this guy came up with, you know, the driver of pain perception is our goals. And when you always have charge over, you can always cancel a goal, and that collapses that whole structure in the mind. It's like, it's huge.
Yeah. Life
hard for most minds to get their handle around. Yeah, pretty sweet. Well, awesome. Anything we can support you with today? Anything in particular on your mind?
No, I was talking to Dr. Tim a bit, so I think he answered my questions.
Oh, good. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be holding the space and look forward to the next text I get from you telling me about your next breakthrough. That's just awesome. That's pretty fabulous. You started the intensive, what, about 3 weeks ago? That's a pretty awesome movement. 3 weeks. Nice work.
Yeah, I've been very tranquil, like very. I feel like I've gotten back on my other path where I'm being very intentional about my character and who I'm being, and just like living emotionally stable.
Nice.
Yeah.
You just put the whole objective of the work in a couple of sentences. So, nice work. That's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Have a blessed one. Thanks for sharing that. That's an inspiration to everybody. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
And we have another hand up, and it's Miss Susan, 610. You're on the air.
Hi, Jeannie.
Welcome, dear heart.
Thank you. I feel for you, Jeannie. I can hear it in your voice. Well, sorry, Michael. What were you saying?
Well, I have something to share with you about that. We both laughed about it, about what Susan's going to say when she hears this. But when she got this email that BlogTalk is going away, which means our archives are until we find a way to handle them. I mean, it's huge, like beyond huge, thousands of hours. Anyway, she came in here in tears, and it's like, this has got to be done. It's going away the 1st of January. We've got Ryan going to the hospital in December, and she was in tears. I said, well, let's lay down and breathe. And she says, no, I want drugs. I want coffee. Like, okay. So I just suggested, let go of that goal. If we don't have the archives, we don't have the archives. That's just the way it is. Ryan is definitely, and what's going on for him, definitely much more important. So we've let that one go, and when the resources come together to get back to it, we'll get back to it. Until then, the archives, unfortunately, will December 31st, except for what we've got in
it'll be
YouTube.
The end of January.
Yeah, the end of January.
Yeah.
So we'll all the ones we've converted will still be available on YouTube, but beyond that, they'll go away until we've got the resources to do it.
However, like what we're putting on YouTube is just our portion of the shows. And so what we had on their website, the download links and things were the entire show, and Dr. Everything.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we've got them. Susan, who runs our website, our web server, she was just backing up a year ahead of the guys that are doing the conversions and putting them on. And I told her this morning, I said, go ahead and get them all up there now. And so she's going to start on that one tonight. She runs it at night when nobody's using the computer usually. Yeah. And, but I mean, we could download them all to our website and run them straight from our website, but then it burst our bandwidth so high that it would cost us 3 times what our website costs.
Right.
And so it was working out good that we could just play the archives from the BlogTalk site. And so now, we just got back up and punt. So we got to figure out how we can continue doing them live where people can call in, and then also how to keep the archives. So, but anyway.
Well, yeah, we'll all be thinking about it. There must be an elegant solution.
Yeah.
But boy, Jeannie, I'm breathing with you.
Yeah, it was. And following right behind that, then I got the email that our website needs to update to a newer version of WordPress. And it's like, oh, I can't have the website screw up. So I wrote Susan and I said, can you do it?
Yeah.
Because you got to back everything up before you do an update of the WordPress. So
sure.
Anyway.
So lots going on.
Yeah. So, well, I just feel for you, big time.
Oh, and then I got an email that as of sometime next year, I don't remember what the date was, that my computer will no longer be supported because it's got Windows 10 on it, and it's not eligible to upgrade to Windows 11, which means I need to get a new computer. So,
like, brother.
I know.
Yikes. A lot going on. Oh.
So, yeah, I wanted a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that would jazz you up. It would
but she resisted.
I did.
She resisted.
You're a better woman than I am, Jeannie. Yep. Well, I feel for you, and we'll all be thinking about it.
Thank you.
The end of January is quite a long time. I mean, it isn't all that
2
long,
months.
but I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, it almost seems.
You sound like you're out for a walk.
No, I'm just doing deep breathing, both for Jeannie and for me. I had a short session with Dr. Tim this morning in which I told him about some dreams that I had had years ago during the time my daughter was not communicating with us. She was communicating in dreams. And my fantasy is that, and it's probably true, Dr. Tim caught me in a game, and it's so embarrassing I'm not even going to talk about it, but I can do wake-up sheets on it. But I feel as if my punishment thought is I'm quitting the radio show as of today, at least the Dr. Tim side of it. And
after that huge gift he gave you?
Well, my favorite miserable is this person doesn't like me. And so I thought, oh no, I've been caught in a game and I'm going to get punished. So I'm heading out. I'm going to head out before it happens. It was great. I mean, I know this is a wonderful gift, but I still have my punishment thoughts, which have to be processed because I know they're not the right ones. And it's amazing because when Vincent called in, one of the things he said was, one of my fears is that somebody doesn't like me. And I thought, oh my God, the synchronicity of this. That's my worst fear, is this or that person doesn't like me, therefore I'm going to not be able to get any oxygen out of the air. It's going to flatten me right out, and I'm no good. I've been proven to be no good. That's interesting that I should say that, actually. My father, who loved us very much, used to pull us into himself, put his arms around us and say, she's no good, which was a joke. It was all love, but I'm using those words anyway. So anyway, just to report that in my own way I'm doing some, I'm like Jeannie. Jeannie, you'll be fine. I'll be fine, but this is hard right now. So.
Yeah. So my offerings first would be, your first worksheet would be on embarrassment.
Yep.
To free yourself of being embarrassed over being exposed. So embarrassment,
okay.
Exposed, revealed, being made known, forced to come out of hiding. That dynamic would be, I would offer, be first.
Okay.
And then the next one would be to look at, under that level of stress, of course, we're ultra stressed. We're now, the behavior points back to what our power person did to us that we hated the most. So how did it feel when your power person abandoned you?
Or hated me.
So that's another one. I'd do that as a key word on a worksheet.
Okay. Okay.
So what's happening with your breath?
I'm taking deep ones.
And as you do, what do you touch into?
I just keep telling myself, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. This is nothing new. You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. So I'm already, feeding myself the okay stuff.
So there is a woman on, that was on America's Got Talent, or Britain's Got Talent.
Oh,
that
yeah?
did a song, and you just put forward, you just rhymed out her song.
Really?
I'll get it and I'll send you a link to it. Yes.
Great. Okay, thanks.
That's the whole melody line of the song is, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I mean, she literally does that.
Yeah, it's a good mantra when you're in trouble. Jeannie, you better use it.
I will.
I'll be doing it with you. Yeah. Well, what happened with Dr. Tim is I was talking, and I've always told him and you, if somebody pushes one, to take them. And we had reached a point where it was quiet, and so he took the other person, and then I accidentally hung up on him because I hit my hearing aid a certain way. If I scratch my ear or put on a hat, it hangs up. So I was no longer on the show as a talker. And Dr. Tim finished with him at about 10 or 5 of the hour and didn't come back to me. And I figured, there it is. There's proof. There's proof. There's proof. He doesn't like me. He doesn't want me to talk so much. He doesn't want me to come on the radio show. He's sick and tired. He catches my game. He's disgusted. He's tired of it. You know.
Well, what a great list of worksheets.
I know.
So notice those are all, I mean, is there any factual evidence that any of that's true?
I think so, sure.
Tell me a piece of the evidence, if you would.
I just told you, you know.
Well, that isn't evidence. They're constructs in your mind.
Well, there's no difference in my head right now. None at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's your big breakthrough then. There's the difference.
Mm. These are constructs? Well, they are, because I can't know anything. I can't know anything. And it's none of my business. I don't have any right to know if anybody likes me, but I can usually tell. And if I can't, those are the people I usually glom onto and then tell myself, see, I told you so. You know, I pick the ones who are reserved, reticent, you know, I pick them. And my son has a new dog. She's the neediest dog in the world. If I sit down, she snouts up my hand and wants patting non-stop. I could pat her all day and she would accept it. So what do? After a certain session of patting, I go about my business. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm doing what my mom did. Only I couldn't even snout. I mean, it got to the point where there was a lot of turning away, going about her business, and I'm standing across the room knowing I have no place in the attention or affection of this person for the duration, however long it was. So my dog is teaching me stuff, even the dog.
Of course. That's what life is for.
Yeah. Well, okay. Anyway, thanks for listening. I feel as if thanks. I feel as if I'm in a lot of danger and I better get off.
So if you wouldn't mind hanging out with us, and just breathing with us for a minute and recognize that you're cherished and you're honored and you're accepted and you're supported right here, right now. Can you let that in?
Yeah. I trust you for that. I do. I feel safe with you indeed.
But you've got it. You've absolutely got it.
Thanks.
And notice that whole other construct is literally a construct of your mind. And what it says to me is that you're getting back to that early childhood power person dynamic where it was so threatening.
It was
and
what?
That's the time, so threatening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time to breathe into it and let yourself embrace that. The sense I get when I listen to your voice and all the descriptors you put to it is allow yourself to embrace that terror.
Good idea.
And chances are this is what your son is coming up against as well.
Yeah, could be.
Generational pattern.
So I picture embracing the terror. I'm the little kid at the top of the stairs. My mother's hot on my heels. She reaches into the linen closet and grabs the riding crop, and we're in for it. The terror, that's where the terror was. That those few moments being chased upstairs, knowing I was in for it, and then getting it. That's where the terror is. So embracing the terror, I imagine, means turning toward me and saying, no, Mom, this is not what you should be doing. This is the wrong thing. I'm not a bad person. You should never hit your kids.
So what happens with your breath when you say that?
Ooh, it went. Yeah, okay. Okay, but that, I don't know if that's what you meant by embracing the terror. What did you mean?
That's exactly what I mean, is letting yourself drop deeper and deeper and deeper into the physiological response.
Mm-hmm.
So just being with that, and letting in the support.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I intellectually, I really, and I've always trusted you and Jeannie. I'm going to say a bad, harsh thing, though, that you don't count. You don't count. I love it, but it isn't, you're not the person. You don't do that. So it doesn't count. Sorry about that.
So there's nothing to be sorry about. That's perfectly fine with me. I mean, I'm not here to count. I'm here to support you. So let yourself be with that, and with that terror at the same time, embrace both of those. Allow, and let it come forward. And what comes next?
That would be my freedom, is to be able to metabolize the love that comes through me, to me, all over the place, and to be nourished by it. But when I'm in one of these serenities, or whatever you call it, nobody counts but the person I'm focused on, and they're the ones who can give me what I want or think I need, but it's really what I want. And there's no nourishment outside of that. In my life, I've had remissions from this, where I'm free, and I feel as if I get nourishment from everything. You know, whether I'm with somebody or not, my work, nature, everything. But when I'm doing it, the world turns gray, except for this one person. And Luke, my grandson, does the same thing. He's glommed onto this, he's glommed onto this girl who punishes him. He got another date. He would rather be with this girl. He went out, and there was the former girlfriend, and he just went into a complete panic. And she's now texting him. She wants him back. She wants the routine, too, of being able to punish him. That's her thing, and he wants it. So he's doing it. And here I am working parallel with him in my own way, doing the same thing. You know, there are so many branches.
Well, you told him you'd support him, right?
What?
You told him you'd support him, right?
Not destroy him. Support him, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Destroy that whole state. So here's my next question then. If I breathe with you and imagine that circumstance, and then I bring into the equation what you said about Dad. So does that equate what you really wanted was Dad to save you in those situations with your mom, but he didn't count, he couldn't do it, he wasn't there, whatever the dynamic is?
That would have been great. I've never felt that. I just wondered in my head, Daddy, where were you? You must have known this was going on. What the heck? Why did you let me kill those little fish? You were fishing right down the beach from us. You saw us stoning those. I need you to save me from myself, not only the little critters. I got to, and from Mom and everything. It's so convoluted, Michael.
So remember that you don't have to figure it out. All you have to do is breathe into it and let it surface. Holding to the presence of love. And we're here to hold the space with you. That is nothing to figure out. It's just allowing it to come forward. Because in the presence of love, it will dissolve. So is what you said to me about you don't count, does that apply to Dad?
I guess it does, because he loved us very much, but that didn't count.
Didn't count, yeah. There you go. So in a child's mind, for me, what that would equate to is, so there's no place safe.
Right.
And that's
I'm
a
my
thought
own
disorder.
worst enemy. Yeah, and it's all in my head.
So it's not in your head anymore. It's now in your awareness.
Okay.
And you can let it go. It's just a thought disorder that there's no safe space. And it was based on experience at that point, because it sounds like there wasn't a safe space. When Mom got in one of those rages, it was pretty crazy.
Well, okay, question. When Daddy was around, we were safe.
Right.
And I knew Daddy to be safe. He would never allow that if he was in the house. Mom did it when he wasn't there, which makes me think he didn't know, which makes me think, what? You didn't know? So if he really didn't know, maybe I was safe. I don't know. This is just going around and around now. And now I'm feeling guilty for taking all this time.
Can I throw out a question?
Yeah.
So what part of you feels like you need to be punished? Because Mom and Dad are both gone and you're still doing it.
Well, I'm getting old. I don't look good anymore. I might be needing things from my kids that they might not want to have to deal with, and they haven't said that. I don't know, Jeannie. I'll have to think about that. It's just a conviction, I guess, just lives in there. Dr. Tim did a talk show, an interview with a woman who talked about her work on allowing herself not to be perfect. And I thought, well, that doesn't apply to me. But then I thought, no, this is all about being able to get old and fall apart, and it's all right. So,
or being able to age and heal. That maybe falling apart isn't required. Maybe that's a structure that we've been fed because nobody knows the truth.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
If we stop doing it to ourselves, then it stops. If we collapse and free ourselves of every thought disorder that creates those literal energetic patterns, those microcurrents in tissue that destroys, and allow in the presence of love, then deterioration is not a requirement. As long as every cell is connected to love in the human form, no deterioration is possible.
I think about
remember that quote?
I love that idea.
Yeah, remember that quote you've heard me speak from the DeCourcy Clinic in Cincinnati when they did their research on aging. Time is not toxic. Time has no effect on tissue under any conditions. It is a belief in the effects of time by those who subscribe to such a belief that acts as a poison. So I'd support you letting go of and changing that thought disorder. Well, you know, that's just inevitable, because it's not. New levels of aliveness, of openness, and a new capacity to function from being is our lot if we do our work. Again, hear Yeshua in Revelations. He or she that overcomes, they will not taste of the second death. They will become a pillar, a fixture in the temple, the body of the Creator, and shall go out no more. This is one of the root thought disorders that needs to be changed in the culture. So personally, I'm looking forward to 90 and 100 and 110 and 120 and 150 and 170 and 200. And beyond.
That's
right through that New Year's Eve party in 49. Probably because
you're not attached to the people you have around you now.
Well, I don't want to be. Why would anybody want to be attached? It's always perked my ears up when I hear about psychologists and the medical field talking about attachment and attachment disorder. Why would anybody be attached to anybody else? Connected, yes. Attachment is the ego's cheap copy of connectedness.
Yeah, it is. Very cheap.
And it's like, remember, the non-being mind, the ego mind, has got a cheap copy of everything that's real in the spiritual dimension. Love is sexual athletics. Forgiveness is letting other people off the hook. Attachment is the cheap substitute for connection. Oh, I have to glom onto you, I have to hold you, I have to grab you, I have to, you. It all is a part of the dogma and the doctrine of the one world universal religion of blame. Because if I blame you for feeling good, and people wouldn't normally apply the word blame, but it really is, I feel good because of you, same dynamic. And it's time for us to let go of that. Function from being. Which means we destroy the self, lowercase s self, the self that's based on, remember, Yeshua says in order for you to live, you got to, this self that's made of threat and fear and trauma and rejection and all of that stuff, that's all a false construct of the mind. And it's that false construct that, when held in place, literally causes a deterioration and ultimately death. Every insane little thought needs to be forgiven, because every insane little thought creates a microcurrent in tissue that has an impact one way or the other, either uplifts or tears down.
So when Job had his first family wiped out, and his second family, he got that. And I always thought, God, you're not a mother. You would never been okay with losing your first family and thinking that you could replace it with a second family. But
Agreed.
if Job were not attached, maybe that's possible. Or am I getting something?
If I have a very dear friend, and my dear friend is here or not here, does that have any impact on the fact that I have another very dear friend?
Okay, I get it.
Only if I'm attached. Oh, this is the only one that approves of me. This is my friend. No other friend could ever take that person's place.
Yeah.
And the mind plays this game of comparisons.
I understand what you're saying, and it's just so far beyond me to think that I could unattach to that point where I'd be okay with the removal of one family and replacement of another. I have so much anger in me when I think of it.
Okay, so there you go. So the anger's got nothing to do with what you're thinking about. The anger is the thought disorder that you need to confront and heal. Let's take a different perspective. This might help shift those thoughts. Let's imagine, cancel the thought, you're the one that's leaving.
Yeah.
Would you advise the one you're leaving behind, let's say your son or your grandson, would you advise him to have every thought disorder that you have about somebody leaving, that's what he should have about you leaving? Or would you say, no, son, I'm fine, I'm heading on, and I'm going to have a great time and whatever's next, and I support you doing the same?
Yeah, I can imagine saying that to my kid, for sure.
So can you clean up the thoughts in your mind that inhibit you from saying that to yourself? Can you let go of the attachment to the thoughts that keep you in that cycle of suffering and pain.
That's good.
So breathing into that with you.
I'm thinking about the election and everything else, because all of that is required here. All of it. The attachment to outcomes, the fear of a monster in the White House, fear of loss of country.
I'll just say I've been processing all of those same things.
Yeah.
And am I willing to trust enough that the next level of outcome will be what I'll create? Like, I'll just share one of the pieces of processing I've done. As you know, I've posted some things that the way that a certain individual has talked, I could be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And so having forgiven as to that dynamic, my mind has become excited about, well, so here I am now. Instead of just visiting a prison and bring the teaching there, I'm right there in the prison, offering support for healing and spreading it in that community. I can get excited about that.
Oh, man. That's
of
amazing.
course, it wouldn't be my preference, but I can get excited about it.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to bring to every experience? Here's an experience. And, this is a good place to apply the thought from the Course of, I have given this all the meaning it has for me. So when I bring thought disorders to an experience, I can make that experience into all kinds of things that it isn't. I can make it up that it's this, or that. And I can hang with those thought disorders. Or the instant that my mind comes up with one of those meanings that's based in hostility or fear, I can free myself of it. I can forgive it and open to. So now what does the mind of Christ in me have available in this situation? And do I trust that mind enough to know that all these things that at least appear to be temporary maybe don't hold any of the meanings that I've given them? It's all me.
Yeah.
And of course, that doesn't mean I don't work for the opposite outcome in the world where there's insanity. But do I clean my own mind up and my own suffering up so that I can come to this virgin moment as a virgin, come to this moment free of any meaning based in hostility or fear? And then who knows what the next level looks like, If imagine, put us on a scale and imagine we're the flea on the lamppost watching television trying to understand it.
That's what we are.
There are how many millions of levels beyond the flea watching television trying to understand it if the flea is able to progress? Well, gee, they could be starting to approach coming into the room and understanding everything in the room that we're in.
Yeah.
Is it possible that's the position we're in? We've got all this past, we've got all these meanings, and maybe in the overall state of completion of creation, maybe we're still at the flea stage.
Oh, yeah.
And there's all this, wow, still available, and we're hanging out with the suffering of the flea. Can we trust enough to let the suffering thoughts go and be with, as created love, be with what comes next? And to do that, all we have to do is deconstruct our insanity. You know, the next saying from the Gospel of Thomas we've been covering is saying 71. And what he says is I, and we saying I here, I don't believe he's speaking about himself as an ego being. He's saying, you know, when he says, my Father and I are one, he's saying there is a unity. And that applies to when he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's not standing there as an ego being saying, look at how wonderful I am. I'm the way. He's saying, I have brought an understanding. I've brought a teaching for you. And the teaching and I, as my Father and I are one, the teaching and I are one. So this saying, he says, I will destroy this house, and none shall build it again. And that's exactly what I hear us doing right now. We're deconstructing this house of ego, this house of the past. And once you've deconstructed it, you're going to be finished with it. And what comes next? And once it's deconstructed, it goes on and says, you know, so I will destroy this house, and none shall be able to rebuild it. In other words, you can't go back to the insanity once you've forgiven it, once you've freed yourself of it.
My mind took a detour right then, Michael. The house could be the whole planet, all of us.
Yes.
And we have to be okay with that. Be willing to lose that.
Trusting that there's so much beyond what we've even conceived of.
Yeah.
What comes next?
Right.
Can we live in that kind of trust?
Yeah.
So I'm here to join you living in that kind of trust. And to breathe into everything that moves that's underneath that.
Boy, oh boy, it comes full circle. It comes right back to the beginning of being chased up the stairs and being whipped. I mean, that was an annihilation, and we're talking about annihilation. I know it sounds very grandiose, and I apologize for that, but that's how
I don't hear anything grandiose in what you're saying.
Okay, good.
So what comes next?
I don't really know. Just settling down and being quiet and watching.
That sounds perfect. That's exactly where I'd go. And just be with noticing any kind of tension anywhere in your physiology. Just gently breathe into it and uncover what's there, and make the space to just be connected to that presence. Give yourself that respite. Let it pulse through your physiology. Literally let the presence of the love of God have its way in your physiology right now. Allow the being that you are to energetically fully incarnate. And what I notice as I say that, as I join you in that, is a very distinct pulsing in my face. I wouldn't go so far as to say I know exactly what it means, but as I'm experiencing it, it's pleasant.
Oh, good.
What's happening for you if you just let it in?
I guess I haven't yet. I have a racing heartbeat, and just breathing.
So it sounds like your physiology is still processing that. That's pretty dramatic for a little kid to go through. Physiologically pretty heavy duty. So joining you in trust and the ability to bring that presence of love into your physiology and then extend it to Luke, to Jacob, that you see repeating some of those dynamics.
Oh, yeah.
Can you, as the forerunner of the Christ for him, can you hold that space for him?
Yeah, that's not hard to do for him.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be hard at all anyway.
And can you hold that space though he rails out of his pain and points it at you?
Lukey? Sure.
No, I'm thinking of Jacob more so at this point.
Oh, yeah. I haven't ever... He's stopped communicating with me because I blocked him, and there's no more effort on his part, nor does he seem to want it. But I don't think there was ever a moment where I didn't hold him as the precious boy that I know he is.
Do you have a picture of yourself as a child?
Yeah.
Look at that picture and just tell her it's okay and cherish her.
Yeah, there's a point of demarcation when I was small. I'm about 2, maybe 2 and 2 months. And that's when the trouble started. I mean, that's when I was aware that my mother and I were separate and that I better keep my distance. And I can picture her, what she's wearing and everything. I remember the whole thing. So I've got that picture in my head. Do you think that's a good picture to use, or should it be a different one?
Sure, that's fine. Let her know that, what was going on for her mother is about her, not the little girl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. Thank you so much, both of you.
Absolutely honored and delighted.
You are welcome and deserving.
Jeannie, I'll be asking around all the young people I know. 2 in the house here. Beautiful fellas. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
And I'll ask them. They may know some technology which would be better than BlogTalk.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be
we've
awesome.
got Podbean, but it's
Yeah.
not super friendly, for people to
No.
call in and get them turned on, and there's got to
I
be an
know.
easier way.
It does. I had asked Dr. Tim about Zoom. I have a Zoom account. It costs something like $40 a year or something, and I have unlimited Zoom time. And I know there's a problem with face being on there, but you can call in, and you can call in on your phone and treat it just like the radio show. And that would be a possibility.
That's an idea too. Michael's got a paid Zoom account as well.
Yeah. It'll keep going. It may be bumping from one, stepping stone to another, but I'm not going to stop having contact with you. I'll call you up personally every day and check in. Whether you like it or not.
Oh, no, we're going to continue. It's going to go on. The main, I mean, there are other places we can carry on with what we're doing. The big challenge at this point is what happens to 5,000 hours of archives, at least until we have the resources to handle it, because it's going to be a pretty chunky,
I have to get off. I'm getting a call from the doctor, and I'm having an operation tomorrow. I have to get off right away. Sorry.
We'll be holding the space for you. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Blessings. So we have 7 minutes. If somebody on the switchboard, or if you're on another station, dial in 563-999-3581 and press 1. A hand will go up. We can have a conversation. We've got right at 7 minutes. We can cover a topic.
So if you're out there in listener land, how can we support you? What's on your mind? Did this process that Susan just went through bring anything up for you? If so, 563-999-3581. Call that number. You're listening to the show directly. Press 1, and we'll be having a conversation. So, Miss Jeannie, do we have anybody in the chat room? Great.
No, but we have a
Awesome.
hand up. 541,
Okay.
Miss Linden, you are on the air.
Good morning, afternoon for you.
Yes.
This is
Welcome,
Celinda.
young lady. How are you?
I'm good. I have been listening very intently to your conversation with Susan, and also Dr. Tim's with Susan, and Vincent as well when I hooked into the radio show. And I just want to say that Susan and I are two sweet peas in a pod. We're not just peas in a pod. We're sweet peas in a pod, because what she processed today, it was so parallel to my processing that I'm doing. I feel really strongly that I don't hate myself anymore. Working with your tools and other tools I've had, I feel that acceptance. I feel acceptance for my mother, but there is still that issue. And thank you, Jeannie, for bringing up getting a picture of yourself, because I too have pictures of myself at 2, and I look like around 2, and I look like a little lost child. And so I can pull that picture out, and I will work on that. And also the processing that you and Susan and you two and Susan and Dr. Tim did, being accepted, being included, being, what's the word I want, appreciated, approved of, all of those. That has to do with whatever incidents we went through, specific events we went through at 2, and thought we were going to be annihilated. Because we might have been. If the person had been, our mothers had been so enraged that they had no boundaries at all for themselves, they could have killed us. Lots of parents do.
Unfortunately, it happens, yes, all too often.
Yeah. And so this is a profound healing process. One of my healing processes before, when I was in Al-Anon, not Al-Anon even, Overeaters Anonymous, I think, maybe Al-Anon, not yet. I will get there. No, it was Overeaters Anonymous. My father called me, my stepdad called me to ask me to come because Mom was dying. So I got on the last plane. And somewhere when I got to my stepdad and Mom's house, I picked up a Reader's Digest. And in that Reader's Digest, a psychotherapist was talking about, in that article, about her, she was been given an autistic child to work with. The child was almost, 14, 15 or something. And he was so autistic, he was put in a mental institution, and he wouldn't come out from under a table. Nobody could get him out from under a table.
Right.
Nobody. And she was assigned him as her part of her caseload. And she went in there, and I don't remember the specifics of what she might have said in the article about how she related to him, but she managed to open up herself in such a way that he was able to gradually open up and trust her. And so we're back to the most basic issue of all, trust.
Trust.
And
it's huge.
For me, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole story of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is a trust story. And Adam and Eve didn't trust the Creator. But that's an aside. Well, she brought him out, and in that process of literally bringing him out of autism, which you're not supposed to be able to do,
right.
He revealed to her that when he was a small boy, he saw his father fling his baby brother against the wall and kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that annihilation we either get from the sense that, oh, that my God, that can happen to me, and that probably is what happens in the most basic level when we witness it out there, whether it's being directed at us or not. So this is a profound sense of work. It amounts to trust. And when we're attached to someone, we don't trust them. We need them to behave. We need this constant approval from them that they are trustworthy, because we don't trust them, and because of our life experiences or what came down the pike through our familial tree and ancestral tree. So I just wanted to share that with you. What a grace. What a grace.
One of the first things we do in our introduction during an intensive is the conversation is about creating a safe space. Because the only reason people are not able to bring forward or do not bring forward the issues they need to deal with is because they did not have a space that was safe enough for them to do it, and therefore could not trust enough to allow it to come forward. And energetically, when people get that the space is safe enough and there's the support for it, that's when those things start to break loose. So I'm right with you on that 100%.
And this is so revealing for me. I mean, like, you offered today an alternative to doing a worksheet. It's not that I haven't been doing the worksheet. It's not that I don't value them very tightly. But this I've gotten more out of than just about any worksheet I've done. And I bow to all of it.
That's what we're here to do, young lady. Delighted to be on the team.
And I think I'll call Susan, bless her heart. This is tears of joy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm breathing.
I'm with you. All right. Breathing with you, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. The show just said in my ear that it's over, so everybody have the best